Hello. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the comments here. And yeah, Michael, you say something too. Make sure people can hear you. Nope. Hold on. I just checking here. Uh, Try again.
Can everyone hear me?
All right. I think so. Just waiting for confirmation for people. All right. Let us know if you guys. Yay. Okay. Looks like they can hear us now. It's always good to make a good check for audio before you get started on a stream. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. Flanks06 here doing another live stream video here for our Tanares Adventures Ultimate Campaign. Hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. You'll see here on the front page we're at 1.2 million dollars, doing pretty well. Almost 7,000 backers. We got about just over 3 days or so to go. Today I have point this direction over here. I have Michael Alves. He is the lead game designer at Dragori Games, and yeah. Anyway, so today we're gonna be talking some about design. In fact, we're gonna be talking about some of the lesser known things about Tanaris Ultimate. In fact, these are even things that are included in your Tanaris Adventures. If you're a previous backer already, you pretty much have all of this already. But we're covering this because there's a lot of people that just don't even know that. So for new backers, you're going to be learning about it, and for existing backers, maybe you're discovering something that you didn't even know about. And then, of course, we got Michael here to help us understand the decisions of why they did things, and yeah, give his input.
Sure, hope I can clarify some questions from the community.
Yeah, right. Um, let's before we kind of jump into each of the design things, let's talk about some of the questions that have already come up in the chat here. So I see Chen Chen here had asked, who comes up with the villain names?
Oh, it truly depends. For example, the the Google Glass from them, um, the Gambit Lords was all Cristiano. Most names that are from Tanaris and before it, Arena and Tanaris are Dan's decision. From the RPG and onward, it's mostly me and Cristiano. The NPC cards are mixed. I have many names that are mine, others are Dan, some are Cristianos, one or other is Alex, but mostly that's the division of naming process there. I
Well,
know that there are some complex names. Dan really liked this complex and different names. All of them have some background, some it maybe a combination of words on a specific language that has something to do with the character, and it then always had this more erudite approach to this more complex approach to naming. That's interesting too because if you take a look at the names, they sometimes mean something in some other language or
yeah. Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, there was a comment from Manny said, "Wish we could vote on some of the names." Man, if we went with voting on all the names, we'd probably get into some very. If you're familiar with internet culture, you're probably gonna expect that we're gonna have a vote, like a villainy McVillainy face or something like that, because that seems to be the standard for internet votes of names.
And the
So
problem with voting is that it often default to a very uh, average feeling, like as people saw with the left votings, and so we try to make some, but not overuse them because things uh, get sometimes even get heated between voters because they feel said that the best uh, choice lost. So
Yeah.
we must not overdo it. Besides liking the views of the community very much.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off, right? The more like options we give, the more division there is, and then yeah,
Yes.
it's more people that are then angry, right? About, oh, I didn't get my guy. So voting is a pro and con type situation because you can't really make everyone happy.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, how many different characters get played in Tanares Adventures campaign? Do you stick with the same ones or rotate them periodically?
You can play any of the heroes. There is some small exceptions on the special role heroes, but we address most of these cases, and the last cases are being addressed in this campaign, like the last and all. You can get more heroes. You start with 4 heroes. You get more heroes as you advance on the campaign because new heroes are rewards that are given during the campaign, and you can acquire more heroes in the city phase using the tavern where you recruit more heroes, and you are free to change your hero at any time. There is no loss in changing a hero because the level ups tied to the seat structure. So even if you bring a new hero, it will be on par with the hero you had before in terms of leveling. It may be it's like the decreasing immersion for some, but we believe that this brings more gameplay, more choices to the players, and choices were an important aspect of Tanaris. And heroes, each hero has a unique passive power. This is different from Arena, where the passive powers were based on roles. In Tanaris, each hero has a unique passive power, and
Yeah.
it's very important to the internal combinations and combos and team compositions you can make. Like there
Yeah.
is a text that do something when you gain a cube. So if you get a hero that gains cubes when they activate their passive power. You can then generate multiple instances of that effect. So
Yeah.
that's what makes it more interesting for you to change heroes on the middle of your campaign as you'll get more attack cards and can make interesting combinations with your teammates to create powerful combos. So
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. And I think that's one thing that maybe a lot of people don't potentially know about the game as, we're going on here about this today. So, is that between not just hero passives, but also attack cards that you pick and item cards, there's different builds within the game. There's builds that generate more cubes, there's builds that flip attack cards, which can get you back your more powerful cards quickly, as well as being able to use your attack cards more frequently. Um, there's builds where you can charge more of your skill tokens more quickly. What other builds are there, Michael? I'm forgetting right now.
That is for temporary effects, like
Temporary
applying many
effects.
temporary effects. There is one build for that. There is builds based on spreading damage, like AoE attacks. There is ways to build around that. There is builds based on exploiting mobbing focus, like
Yep.
characters that do better effects when they are mobbing and focus, and cards that do that, and cards that make that happens. And there is builds. For moving enemies, like throwing enemies at spike and lava tiles. There is entire builds that you can do to make you move the enemies like longer distance and do extra damage when you throw them on something negative, some negative area. So there
Yeah.
is a lot of different combinations. There is a healing build like where everyone, the entire team can heal a lot, and even your brute can heal, and this makes for a very sustainable and resilient group. So there is that.
Well, and what I kind of find interesting too is you don't necessarily have to go completely hardcore into one build either. You could like have two characters that maybe they try to kind of focus together on their build, but then you have a different build that's in there, but but they can complement each other between the interactions between those different builds.
Yep, it's by design. You will, in the best case, need to choose two builds to focus. So you have a great array of choices because even if you go for straight for one build, you will still have like a second build running uh, on the sideline in the most focused cases. And let's say the average cases you have in some combinations of two heroes and three heroes and other adjacent combinations happening. So it's pretty interesting because there is a lot of choice potential.
Yeah. All right, so the next question is so as you know, I've backed everything from Dragori. I'm in for the returning backer pledge, but what add ons will I need to make sure I have everything? So, well, I don't want to surprise things yet, but there will be a way to make sure that you're not really missing pretty much everything, I believe. Maybe announced tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. Michael would probably know more about that than I would, but
Yeah,
we'll be making sure. So what I will say though, for returning back our pledge, the main things are: do you want the silver dragon painted? If you do, then add $29. That's like the going to be the upgrade price. The dashboards is another one. So the player dashboards, which helps kind of organize your cards. Then there's the condition miniature. Oh, I'm sorry. The dashboards I think is 25. The condition miniatures, which replaces the cardboard tokens from Tanares Adventures with little miniatures. That one I think is 19.
yeah,
And then we recently did the resource tokens, where you replace the loot cards that represents the 4 different resources with plastic pieces that come in a velvet bag. The intent is you can reach in, randomly grab something out of there, and do that instead, or just use them to represent the resources that you have in between quests as physical resources instead of just the cards. But however you want to use those, and I believe that's $19. And there might be one other thing. Remember, we are focused primarily on deluxifying your experience, making for many people that either already own the game or getting into the game, more reasons to support the campaign, of course, but then also give you other cool things to use while you're playing the game. So there might be one other thing on the way as well. And I think that might be announced tomorrow as well. All right. Next up is Gloomhaven has a rotation via retirement. Wondering if Tanares Adventures has the equivalent as the story goes along. Didn't see it in the rulebook, but wondered if it might be part of the story quest books.
there is an event that happens during the story that will not disclose here, so because it's important and not not to
Yeah.
spoil it, but not in the sense that Gloomhaven does, because Gloomhaven supposedly runs for like years or something on the scale, like your character just retires. Daenerys is a war. The Kemet's are invading, and uh, and it's a very specific situation, like more of an adventure slash action situation, because if the Kemet's conclude their main goal, they won, and you need to stop them from doing that. It's happening in Fisherman's Wharf. That's a city where they first invaded, and the heroes must stop them before they conclude what they're doing there. So
Yeah.
it takes just some weeks. The entire story happens in just a few weeks. There is a calendar. Each you will fill the calendar as you do quests, and at the end of the calendar, you will face the invasion of Fisherman's Wharf and all the events that lead to the end game that are massively changed by what you did in your campaign. There is many facts you acquired, etc. So there is no time for your hero to like
Be like, you know what?
retire.
I'm gonna go take a vacation.
Yeah, because the narrative here is a high tension situation. So
Yeah.
our heroes are there to do their best to stop Gulag.
Exactly. It's not like yeah, in Gloomhaven they're I believe they're mercenaries, right? So they're just there for their own personal gain to get some loot and stuff and money and then or whatever their personal objective is and then they move on. But ours is very focused around the story and how you're trying to, defend the world from the Kemet. So it's definitely a different situation. All right, so the next question is I saw one other one here. So who named our new gnome chef?
But
Who named the remember the gnome chef that
me.
okay.
I made it. I hope people like it, but
Yeah. I love I voted for Gnome Chef. I was really hoping that we don't have a lot of gnomes in the game, so I think it's good to see some more representation because a lot of the NPC cards that are already in the game, I think most of them are humans or there's still a mix of others, but there's definitely a lot of human NPCs in the game.
humans and elves are our bread and butter on
Yeah.
Tanares. But I wish to make it different from the one and add more variety. And I believe you are going that direction. And I was happy that they Gnome won because it was my vote. So, uh, like I said in the comments, I was rooting for the Gnome Chef to win.
Yeah.
So that's why I named him because I wrote the backstory based on the votes uh, of the community, and I hope people like it. I always found it was pretty fun to work with.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna we'll quickly try to answer these last few ones here, but we want to move on to the other content of today, and then we'll come back to more questions later on. So real quickly, so does everything have room in the big storage boxes? Yes. All of the add-on components that we mentioned will fit in the storage box. We've been uh, doing a lot of work to make sure everything can still be contained and take up less room in your house. Um, will you make standees for dragons and large monsters? Yes, I believe that's already planned, that there is standees for those. Remember, there's some that's in just the standee pledge, and then there's an add-on as well, which will have a few more because those are tied into like the In the Realms of the Madness mini campaign and then the Wasteland expedition. Um, and I'm new to the game. Really hope for future quests, books, campaigns that utilize the core components of the game. Is this in the scope of possibility, or will future releases be standalone? We've always tried to support our last content. I don't know. Maybe if you could quickly answer that one, Michael. But I think
Uh,
that's planned.
yes, there is three cents on this because um, we have a standalone prepared for the future. We exposed it on an update some weeks back, I believe, before the campaign started. But it's timed for 2025, so it's way way ahead. But between this, we believe we can provide meaningful content, more quests, and we are trying to bring some of this in this campaign with the the quest for um, we are making for using dragons and or we'll add some more quests uh, from here yet. So there is more of a cooking up for the ending of the campaign that may bring some more play for old pieces. And the entire Wasteland campaign is applied because we are revamping arena content to be played on Tanares rules exactly to make you use all those miniatures, all this old content in the new light of Tanares with the new rules. So new people don't get to learn two set of rules, and those that already played arena can uh, play it again on a different set because the quests and everything else is the same story, but the gameplay is very different, so you will find it will be pretty enjoyable even to those that already played Arena before.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into Tabletop Simulator. I have it up on my screen now, so hopefully you guys can see that. Um, so one of the things that I had seen asked in the comments earlier, and one that gets talked about significantly less, especially by plenty of the reviewers out there, because as you can expect, most people playing the game, they're starting right from the beginning, so we get a lot more reviews on the tutorial quests, right? Because those are the first two people play, and then maybe the first week or two, and then pretty much about after that, I don't really see anybody. There's a few reviews out there that are longer or full campaigns, but not especially later on in the game. And one of the things that does happen later on in the game is boss fights. Now, this is much different than the boss fights that existed in Arena the Contest. In Arena the Contest, they were pretty straightforward. The boss really didn't move hardly at all, and it wasn't very dynamic. In Tanares Adventures, there's actually a special boss rule set that happens, and you only really learn about it once you get to the end game. And this is one of the reasons nobody knows about it, because they don't necessarily go and read this section, because it says that we actually tell you in the book, don't read this until you like unlock it. So I get the confusion about it, but anyway, so what we have set up here is one of the quests, Artilog, the Chimera here. And I have it set up. I just picked some heroes, some random NPC cards, and abilities. And I figured maybe we'd do like kind of a round or two of it just so you guys can see how it works. Um, Maybe, Michael, you can quickly explain the idea of boss fights and how they're a little bit different but the same as the rest of the game.
Yes, the core concept on the boss fights is again fighting the boss, obviously, but uh, differently from other enemies, the boss you can show them here the cards.
Yep.
The boss has one big villain card and four small cards because the boss has four faces. It's different from all other enemies in Tanaris. Boss fights are based on facing of the boss. Like each side of him has a color. It is the same colors that you play during the entire campaign, so it will be simple to understand because each color is like one part of the boss and one attack and one villain. Like you can, it has its own HP, it has its own action on the round. So the red face has an action, the blue face has an action, like they were separate enemies on the same body,
Yep.
and they are the body parts of the boss. This is interesting because the boss will turn around to attack because he needs to face you with the face that's attacking, and this will change which parts you have access to attack because the boss, different from everything else, the boss blocks line of effect and blocks your vision. Like, let's give you a good example. Atar here. He, if he's here, he can only attack the blue side. But if he is here, he can attack blue and red. But he has no access to yellow or green even if you have a ranged hero, like for example Katarina, she can attack blue, she can attack yellow, but green and red are blocked because the boss blocks the sight, blocks your vision. So for her to attack red, she would need to be at least here, so one corner of her could touch one corner of the head square. So that's the main difference because the boss will move around and this piece here will rotate to make him attack the correct targets. So this has a stack base with a tile that's rotatable. So
Yeah.
you have this piece already on the game. Here it will be a bit more awkward than in the actual physical
Yeah,
game.
so exactly. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up is many of you got a little plastic square that's I think it's black colored. One person told me that he thought it was just holding tiles in place and threw it away, which was a mistake. It's actually intended to play the game. So specifically these boss fights, you put this piece here, that the colored piece, cardboard piece, in that, and then you're gonna snap your boss miniature into that. And so that way it's a lot easier to just rotate that around the miniature. And you're not trying to handle like two different pieces and moving them around, which you'll see as we do it in Tabletop Simulator. I'll be like rotating things around and it'll be a little awkward. But in real life, it'll actually be a lot easier
Yeah,
to
because
do
you just
because of this piece.
yep. That's the main difference. The fight is very dynamic because the boss will move around and you need to move around to access the correct parts. And the thing is, you want to attack the right part at the specific time because each part has its own passive power, just special passive power that has a trigger and an effect. Like, for example, here, Outlaw Lion, if you can.
Yep,
Uh,
showing it.
the trigger is this villain hits a hero with the head quest item. At the start of this quest, each hero will gain one color of quest item. So if Outlaw hits the hero with the head quest item, it deals 10 less damage. So, but look at his damage. It's whooping 40. It's like more than a half of the HP of a hero. So heroes need to make this happen, at least on a semi-constant base to avoid as much damage as possible from Ardlog. So
And it's kind
you,
of it's a little like counterintuitive from what you played previously in the game, because in most of the other quests you're trying to prevent the villain from getting their passive. In this one you want him to get the passive so that way he does less damage.
yep. That the idea here is that um, you need to think because if it was the contrary, like it dealt more damage on the guy with the head token, it would be pretty simple to avoid because you would have a perceived 3 in 4 chance of it not applying. Here, the idea that you need to work out to make the correct parts hit at the correct times so that it does what you need it to do so you can defeat the
Yeah.
boss. So that's the idea. That's the way we simulated that boss monster feeling on many games.
But it still follows the same rules as before. So orange attacks the lowest HP, green attacks the most cubes, blue attacks the furthest away, and then red will attack the highest HP. So it's
Yes,
still very much the same in that regard.
yep, that's the idea. For example, you need to hit the red part so it retaliates. When the guy with the head quest item is the one with most HP. So you need to manipulate so that happens, so that when this lion red part attacks, it attacks exactly the hero you need it to attack, so it does less damage.
All right. Okay. So let's. I think people have a understanding. We'll just start doing this demo. Like I said, we'll just do a couple, maybe a round or two, just so people can kind of understand what it looks like, and then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, Michael, let's do this. It's been a long time
Okay.
since we've actually played the game together.
Yeah. You want to play who here?
I'll just play Katarina and Qatar, and you can play Rurik and
Okay.
Ninx.
Perfect. I
All
have here.
right, so let's see.
Okay, okay, but and I have this here. Okay, oh, because of this card here, Rurik can move at the start of the quest.
Yep.
See here, my companion Jagannath can allow me to move 6 and deal 7 damage to a villain in one of me.
All right.
So I will do this. Two, three, 1, 5, 6.
All right.
Uh,
So then
and I will
blue,
do blue 7 damage zone.
7 damage. All right, great. You just want to start with Rurik since we're doing him anyway?
Yep, that may be a good idea.
All right, so if he's going for
No
blue.
cubes.
So we don't have any quest items, I believe, right? We have to pick them up, or were
Oh,
we supposed to already
yes.
have them?
No, no, we have this on the start of the quest. So,
Oh, we do. So
yeah.
when I set this up, I just kind of went based on the initial setup rules
Yep, you gain it on the
in the
journal.
journal.
So, yep.
Yeah.
So
So we
just
would
set.
we would all have one already. Is that what you're
Yep,
saying?
yep.
Okay.
We each one of us has one color of. Uh, let's. It's our choice. So, uh,
Let's
where
see.
where are they?
Yeah, so Wantuan created this special thing here.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's under tools, I think, and so then you can get this one. So someone can get. Is it supposed to be
no, it's
colors? You said quest
it's this
items.
quest. Quite nice. Yes.
Okay, so there we go. Yeah.
Let's give red to Ulrich.
All right. I'll give green, and then blue, and then
Um,
yellow.
okay. Um,
Okay, so if you attack the blue side, then
it
the
will.
blue will go after the furthest away, which
Yes.
is currently, what is it, Katarina maybe? Or is it
And it's Nyx and
Nix?
Qatar, so we can choose
All right,
between
well,
them.
we'd want Nix then because she's got blue, so that works
Yep,
out.
yep. I can attack the blue side and make it work. So let's do this. I will use a shield here and attack because
All
we need to
right,
start strong against
you gotta go
bosses.
strong. This guy does a ton of damage too. All right, so a 12, that's
12, it's
gonna
a hit.
be a hit. You can look here at his boss card at the top there. So defensive 8. All right.
So 20 damage.
20 damage. So he's down to 43 plus 70.
Yes, and I will use my Vorpal blade here, and because I don't believe I run a natural 20 blade and do uh, 14 extra damage.
All right. So down here 29 plus 7. Let's see. So on the only person I think
Yeah.
who has cubes right now technically is Katarina because of her NPC card. Although I guess she
Yes.
could have distributed them at the beginning. Do we want to distribute any out to anyone else?
No, no. Let's she have it.
Okay. All right.
Let's do this. I will now. The boss will attack, but it
And
started on my aura, so uh, the
so
ally
it'll.
that's been attacked is protected for,
Yep.
and it will here. Uh,
And
it's the
then
dragon here. It's a ranged attack because it will breathe fire. So, but first it needs to flip
rotate.
around here,
So if you
rotating.
press Q or E, it does the rotate. So there you go.
Okay,
So
here.
yeah, blue
Okay,
is facing now. And I'll turn the miniature just so that way you guys have a better understanding of which direction
Yes,
the chimera is actually attacking.
it will attack Nyx because we can choose between Qatar and Nyx, so it's better for us that it attacks Nyx.
All right,
So
so Katarina will do before the roll. Villain is weakened 7, and if oh, it's a non-boss. Dang it! I picked the wrong one. Because that would be so good.
yeah.
Um, all right, let's just go with the distracted 3 and curse then.
Oh, that's very good on this because Hurik has just given protected 4, so it has -7 to its attack, and it lost its
All right,
blessing.
so he rolled a 5. Normally he'd be blessed, I believe, right? Because
Yes,
of boss
here
perks, but because he got cursed from my skill, he only rolls
he
that
lost
once.
blessed.
He gets +3 though, because of also
Yes,
boss perks. So his 5 is actually an 8. So his
but I gave protection,
correct.
and
You gave
you gave
protected.
distracted.
Correct. Yeah. So you gave protect. You're right. There was a distracted too. I forgot about that. So it cancels that +3. So that is a 5. And then Nynx between her defense of 7 plus the 4 from Urk. That's going to be a miss.
Yes, we finally made a boss.
All
Miss.
right. So 12 damage to Nynx. Which is
It hurts.
still a good amount, but we got one side down there. And now it would be back to the hero's turn.
Yep. I placed the cube here, the fatigue cube on the blue. It's
Yep.
can't echo anymore. I need one fatigue cube for my like we call copies this. So we can copy. So, can you copy this
Oh,
tokens?
sorry.
This that's cubes.
Here, I'll promote you. And then you want the fatigue token?
Yeah, let's clone them
Sure.
here.
Where do you want it? Right there? All right.
So you can mark that.
By the way, Wantuan added these dashboards after Dragori announced the dashboards for the game. So I think he was trying to kind of mimic sort of how they could work. Um, and these are, I'd say, pretty close. Obviously, these are going to be 3-dimensional, so the cards up here at the top will stand up. These ones on the right and left still lay flat. And then on the bottom, it's just a kind of just a decorative area, but you can place cards there to track effects if you want.
Yep.
And then you just place your mana cubes, I think, off to like the corner or the side of it, whatever. And then there's a place for your dice to sit if you want to put it there or wherever. All right, so let's see. How about maybe Qatar should go? Who do we want him to go after? Right now, blue and yellow is the closest to him. If he attacks yellow, it'd go after lowest HP, which is Nynx, which is not good.
Yes, it's for and we
Um,
can't we have no cubes on our wheel. So
so green, most cool. Let's see, most cubes is green. Who's that? Who is green? It is Qatar.
uh,
Qatar does not have many cubes right now, so that may not be a
do you
good.
have no? But you can light Eclipse with her and
Oh
give
yeah,
him
yeah,
two
yeah.
cubes and use your cubes uh on
Yeah,
this instead
ally
of the
turn,
turn. It
or
be
that.
but this needs to be on allies turn.
Yeah.
You
Okay, so how about we'll do. So we're gonna try going for green. You said
Yeah, if we
1,
but
2.
we
Ooh, be
can't
so far
go
away.
on. No, but it needs to be Katarina, but you can. The
Okay.
problem is that Qatar. Well, you can.
Yeah, yeah. I'll,
The
I'll.
problem is the distance from Qatar, so you can't give him the cubes.
Yeah, you're right. Well, she could still move though. The How far is
But
Rourke?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, you
Oh
need to
man.
get to here.
All right, this one might.
Choices,
I
choices.
know, right? This one's a
Hmm. If we hit yellow, it will attack
Nynx.
her. We don't this to have, but if you attack head, what do you have? Head will attack most HP, most
Should be
HP.
Rourke.
Oh, it's rude. You can go for head if you
Okay, so let's have Katarina go, and she'll go one, two. She'll use the portal. Three.
you can get
Uh,
the 3 here.
yeah, and pick up the key. And one, two, three. So she can still hit there, and she'll use. Well, she could give some cubes to Rurik, I guess. If we did Lilac
No, because I
Fix,
don't know. Yes,
or
Rurik, yes, you have line of sight for it.
all right. So we'll do Lilac Eclipse here on the boss. Roll to attack there. An 8, that is a hit. So that will be 7 damage to the red side. And then she will get her passive, which is she gains a cube. And then apply the effect of the target is exposed once per turn, and a hero gains 2 cubes. So we're playing that on red here. And then 2 cubes for Rourke.
Oh, great.
Perfect. And now red is going after the hero with the highest HP, which is Rourke. So during, I think, let's see, maybe she wants to use, does she want to use this one? Um, Death Hurricane, do we want to do Death Hurricane? Sure, why not? So 8 damage to both sides, red and green. She has vision over.
Perfect. Using your weapon. And
Alright,
now red will
red, he's coming. He's coming in hot.
be flip it and will attack here
He's going
and
after Rourke,
retaliation.
and we'll spend some cubes here and make him weakened, although we won't be able to cancel the effect there, but
Yeah, it's good that it's weakened.
alright.
So it will attack. They
Yep.
will roll here for
Does
him.
Rourke want to spend any cubes?
Ouch. It's a hit, but
That's a
let's see
hit.
if it's a okay, just a hit.
Just a hit.
Um,
So that'll
so
be
it would
30 damage because he did trigger his special passive, right?
yes, but I will use this armor here and shield it 15. So I'm taking 15 damage.
Alright. 15.
And you at 15, and you gave a weekend 7, so I will take only 8
Ah,
damage.
that's right. Alright.
So,
Here we go. That looks
okay.
right. And then he does a push 5 the target
Oh, damn. I will slide here and
into the
take
wall.
4 damage because of the ice. So I take more. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least it did not throw me far away.
Yeah. All right, so Katarina has finished her turn now. Red has finished his turn. Now it's back to the heroes. We have Qatar and Nynx still to go.
Yep.
And maybe you think about what one we want to do here while I look at the questions real quick. Are there any difficulty settings? I heard the game can be pretty hard. There is. In fact, there's a dynamic difficulty system called the Kemet
Yeah.
Hunt. So in a lot of games, you just choose which difficulty you want, and then you apply whatever modifiers there are. In our game, If you are doing well, you will, and there's certain criteria for it, like not using first aid tokens, not using treasure chests, which you can get to heal. When you do those things, and I think, is the extra challenge also part of it? I forget right now. I think
Yeah,
it's not, is it?
yeah, the
I,
fucking hunt.
okay, yeah. So when you do those, then you raise up your Kemet hunt level. So between 2 through 5, you're raising, or I'm sorry, 2 through 4, you're raising the number of enemies that will be on the board. When you look at a quest map set up, you'll see stars, and the number of stars represent that Kemet hunt. So if you had 3 stars, you would add, if there was a 2 and a 3, you'd add both of those. If there was a 4, then you wouldn't add that because that would be for the level 4. And so then you apply anything that previously came before. Um, maybe while we're here on this topic, actually, many people have been asking me what is going to be the new Kemet Hunt level 1 effect, because that was one of the things that we're going to change after many people did not like the Kemet Hunt level 1 effect.
Yes, we have uh, prepared a simple solution that gives you a choice between starting dividing some initial damage between heroes or losing the specials, so people can pick what they prefer, because I see that many prefer to have their two special attacks. But we also have a new surprise story that I need to hold up for now, and that I believe people will enjoy even more as another possibility for the Kemet hunt. So uh, it will still use the extra Kemet, but it will revamp a little the system, uh, or at least the table and what happens. But the simple solution is a distribution of damage as a choice on the Chemtron Hunt one, as there's people that prefer to have a simple. We could add something more complex, but we decide not to do it because the game has already many systems, and Scam Hunt level 1 happens early in the game, and it would, if we change it for a more complex thing, it would make kind of cause another entry barrier for players that are still learning the game. So we refrain from that and choose a simple solution.
Yeah. So we'll have some more on it as we go on with the campaign. So one thing I was thinking that I probably should have done, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time, was so Katarina can use her mana power ability to burn these 2 mana cubes, and by doing that, she flips these tokens, and basically
Yep.
she's just going to transfer her 2 of her tokens pretty much to Qatar, as she can give it to an ally, and this will set us up so that way, if we attack green here, he'll
It
go after
would
Qatar.
it would if it Qatar was in
Oh,
range,
that's right. He is too far away. I did forget
but you
that.
can give it to Rurik.
Okay. Well, but he doesn't have the green token. So Rourke could spend his tokens, and then he could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can make it work.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Let's do that.
Like we want Qatar to be the target of the green, yes, because he has green, correct? So okay, Qatar can attack green. I will. Um,
So you want me to
he,
give him the tokens or no, or the mana cubes or no?
uh, how?
From her total charge.
No,
So,
you can't because it's not on line of sight in range. You need to give
oh,
it
you're right.
to
You're right.
Burik. But I can make this work.
All right. All right. So Nynx is gonna go then, I assume, or Qatar for the attack
Uh,
here.
let me check.
So
Okay, we need to make green and
green
uh
and yellow still go.
yellow.
Yellow's pretty far.
Yellow needs to attack Katarina, correct? How we make
No, Nynx.
no, no, the yellow. It will attack Nix, but we need you to
Ah,
attack
yes,
Katarina.
yes, yes.
So I if she goes to her full health, she'll end with 75. Katarina has any damage? Has. So oh, it will be equal. If it's equal, oh, we can make it work. We can make it work. Let her play. I just need to heal Katarina, correct?
Yeah.
So that she is not the one with.
You could do Vitality Juice Box, I guess.
Yes,
One,
that's
two,
that's the
three.
point.
One,
Um.
two.
Okay. Then I will use. Um. Oh no, I need to do something that heals myself. So I need to. I can use this. I can use. Let me see which attacks you choose. No, I don't have a powerful healing attack. Mm, and I can only heal
Went with
allies.
Dark Channeling. We love Dark Channeling just because you kind of get that extra damage on every single strike, so it's pretty
Yep.
awesome ability there.
Oh, but I have a way to make this work.
Yeah.
I found a solution. I will attack green with her.
Okay.
I will use. Um, I will use oxygen siphon here.
Okay. All right. Roll it.
I hope this hits. So I'm just already putting it here, and I will focus on attack green. 5, but I have +3 for my weapon here, and
Yep.
I have
Can
focus. So
you focus a boss though?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
I couldn't remember if that was still part of the new boss perks or not. So that'll be a hit. So that'll
yes,
be 22 damage plus 5 from Nynx's passive.
yes. 27,
So
and
27,
I will
27.
use this weapon here to give Qatar 2 cubes.
Awesome. All right. Getting some of them yummy cubes. Choose an enemy, ignores all helpful conditions, and takes 3 damage at the end of all of its turns. That's going to be a good one to have.
And
Was there anything Rourke
um,
wanted to do?
yes, I will use um, it says 2 cubes here.
Either heal 3 or heal 8, sorry.
Charge, charge here. Put here. Uh, I will heal 8 for itself.
Alright, so Rourke using the heal 8 to himself. And using the charge to charge the top
Yeah,
token there.
and that's it. Now I use on the enemy turn. I will use Inspire in myself again. Oh, or can I use it on Katarina? Oh, he's
Yeah,
on
you
in
could.
range. I
Yeah, you
can
could
use
use
on.
it. All right.
So I
So
will
doing
roll.
inspire on the villain's turn, and that is going to be an even, which is a heal 14 to a hero. You,
So
yeah. So it'd have to be. Well, Katarina's already at full health.
yeah, but that's what I could done. I was hoping for the
The
cubes,
other one.
but what I went to do in reality was having less cubes, so that Qatar
Yeah.
becomes a target here.
So maybe you just heal yourself then to full.
Yep.
All right. So green going after the most cubes, which is Qatar. All right, so let's talk.
Green.
Yeah, so let's talk about the villain movement because he's gonna have to move to get there.
Yep. This boss monster has wings, so it can cross barriers. It will find some spot it can end that's valid for to make its attack. It has a range of 2 here, so the only possibility I see, but it has a movement of 7. And I believe it will meet this movement.
Does
Let
he? It's
let's
usually
see.
yeah.
He was here, right?
Yep.
Like
Oh, sorry.
yes, here, correct?
Yep. So can he fly over the barriers then too?
Yes, but not enter.
Just can't land on it. So that means he has to
I
stand.
believe he can't attack the time, and we make a tactical mistake here.
Did we?
I believe it's not a mistake on the rules; it's a
Two,
mistake on
three,
our
four,
strategy
five. Why not?
because
He
he
can go
can.
here, right?
Mm,
Uh
no, there is
oh, because he
here.
can't go on her. Yep.
Yet there is no place he can end and attack the tower. So it
Within
will
his
go for
range.
the next
One,
target on target line. Else, if we does Qatar have any way to move himself
um
on his?
on it. Well, but then he'd spend
Oh,
cubes.
yeah, well, oh, yes, we can do. Oh,
Run to a
yes,
villain.
yeah, but then we spend the cubes. Oh, damn it! But there's
Well,
no
but
one with
then
cubes,
but
right?
then yeah, there's nobody with cubes, so it'd be the
Oh,
same
that's good
anyway.
because you will be the closest one. You do this at the end of uh,
Yep. So
of
run
Nick's
7 to
turn
the villain. One,
and do
two, three, four, five,
and
six,
and here
three.
because then
All
you
right,
can do damage
to both of
to
them.
both colors.
Yeah. All right,
So
and
you
then he
do
deal. Then all villains and 2 of you take 7 damage. So green
red
and
takes
red both take 7.
3,
Boom. All right.
and then now okay now he will play. Um, Green will attack a time because it will attack the hero with least cubes, but everyone has 0 cubes, so it goes after the one closest to choose. So Qatar, and you attack Qatar here with green
So
color.
even though we had to change it, that it was still good to I think go over the movement rules just because it can kind of get a little
The, the thing
dicey to
is,
figure it out.
what would happen if Qatar could not move? Since the boss has no valid position to attack Qatar, it will go after the second possible hero to attack. So it would be bad for us because it would attack
Well,
Rurik here.
everyone else would have been equal, which then meant he'd have to go after the closest, and closest would be Rurik.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
would be the case. So the head go to attack Qatar.
All
And
right.
let's see.
And a
A
5
five.
plus the 3, so that would be a hit, and then a 9.
And okay, it hits. Um
So he'll do 23
23.
damage. 10, 23. He hits like a truck still, even with that.
And he pulls for the farthest hero.
Pull this villain's
Um
farthest hero,
farthest
and he.
hero is Nyx. One, two, three, 4. Remembering that when villains move heroes, they also always try to do the most damage possible. So I can either move here or we can pass on the spikes here. I believe, oh, maybe ending close to a chest is better. One, two, three. It will hit the wall and take 4 damage plus the ice. So
All right.
Nyx takes 4 damage. Two, three, 4 damage. And you ate the non-named part with lowest HP. So it's green part. maimed part is the part that that's not defeated. Like when a part reaches 0 HP, it's maimed. The
Yeah,
card flips,
that
and
exactly.
there is the maimed part here that like it was defeated. And if you defeat all the parts, you win. Um, but in this case, uh, it could not heal back to life a part that was already defeated. That's the point
Yeah.
of a non-maimed part. So at the end of
And
this
one
your
thing to
turn.
note too is when they're maimed, if you attack that part, you can apply damage to any other part,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's an advantage. It's like when you main one part. There's also a secondary advantage that is here on the villain card, because when you main a part, you gain some advantage. Like maybe the red part gives you a heal, blue part gives cubes, green part gives empower tokens, and orange part gives recover one special attack. So this heal changes by each boss. The attacks are different for each boss, and this abilities here are different for each boss, and you can think about which part you want to main first, and because the last part you not effectively gain that bonus, because as soon as you name the last part, you defeat the boss. So there is that. So you are choosing one of this bonus not to gain during the fight.
Yeah.
So here at the end of the turn from the green, my option siphon some option. So it takes 3 damage from my permanent.
One,
Remembering
two,
that different from
three,
the arena, the boss here does not discard temporaries and permanents like it did in the past.
which is very
Um,
nice.
uh, okay.
All right.
Uh,
And then we'd have one more to go. Although I was just looking at the time, we're already. Let's see.
let's just make
You want to do one
the
more?
yeah, just make the in the front so we can choose how the chimera you move,
Okay. Yeah,
and
let's do it.
it's will be very quickly. Uh, who didn't attack? Qatar didn't attack.
So Qatar didn't tag.
Just make a quick attack on
All right. So
I
he's
believe.
gonna do barbaric rage, and he's just gonna attack.
Attack
Well, I guess he
like
can do
green.
whirlwind. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but
Just attack. Just make
yeah.
prevent rage and green so we can
All
show
right.
an unprovoked attack.
Oh, all right, a two. Fantastic.
Okay, that's a miss.
Yep.
Oh,
So,
maybe not because you have three for the weapon.
oh,
It's a
three
five,
plus two from barbaric rage. That's a seven.
seven.
Nope. Nope, that's still a miss.
No. Oh.
But he gets a mana cube, so there's that, I guess, right?
Okay. Yeah. And
You
15.
gotta take what you can get, Michael. Sometimes you just take what you can get.
Okay. Then this part already attacked because you attacked green. Then the only part that's not fatigued is orange. So orange takes its turn unprovoked. It attacks the hero with least HP. On this case, it's Qatar, I believe. Yeah, Qatar has
Yep,
least HP.
that's right.
So this hero shifts. Oh, he moved so little. But he will do something at the end of the round. So it will attack um,
All right, so he
Qatar here.
attacks Qatar, 16. That's gonna be a hit. So he'll
Yep.
get
So, but
40
Qatar was not the correct target, so it will take 36 damage,
plus 5, so 41.
41,
Oh
and
my God,
Qatar is on
how much is that? That's
16.
16.
Oh, doo-doo, doo-doo.
Yeah.
And Qatar gains 3 bleeding tokens. So
Oh. Oh
this
my
all
God.
is bleeding so much.
That's a lot of bleed tokens.
Don't move, Qatar, don't move.
Yeah.
Okay, and now at the end of the round, there is the rules for the quest here. And as you can see, uh, you can,
So I did forget to put the time token. So it says put the time token on 7. I'm just gonna use
yep,
this arena token here.
um, So it's moved to 6. So Outlaw pushes to all heroes. So let's push to all heroes. One, two, one, two, one, two, and one.
Well, is that he wouldn't be able to be
Oh, it's
pushed, right?
no,
Because
yep,
he's already stuck.
yep. He's stuck here. He
Does
can't
he
go.
take more terrain
Yep,
damage from the ice?
it would, but it's locked, so it cannot take
Okay,
any damage because it's not moving.
gotcha.
So
All right,
okay, and after that,
and
it
then runs to the farthest
runs.
hero, which I think is Katarina.
Yep. So, but he cannot end here, as you can
One,
see
one,
here.
two, three, four. Yeah, it's too big.
So it will run to the
Two,
next one.
three,
It
four,
will be Qatar
five,
here
six.
that it can
Yeah,
end.
too.
That's why this map has so many intricate walls because this makes the fight a lot more tactical because you need to think ahead where boss can go and where it can't go.
So then when he
And
does move, he doesn't rotate. He stays the same direction he was, right?
yes, because he's running and the entire boss is running, not just one specific part.
Yeah.
And um,
So every time we do another round, he'll do something different. And
yeah, but
that's,
there is this here. The only thing we need to make it yet.
well, and I just assumed that we were like at Kemet Hunt Zero on this one since
Yeah,
we were just doing
uh,
this.
yeah. On game hunt zero, we have this one. Each two. So as Katrina has the key token here, she gets a cube, just so to make everything correct. Then the front procedures. If we had were at the game hunt higher level, there would be this extra um, effects here. Like for example, at caves on 3, 4, and 5, there would be cave in, like the cave is falling on our heads. So, for example, the hero with high speed and all other heroes in two of it would take 5 or 10 or even 20 damage at the maximum difficult level.
Yeah.
So, and at the end of each round, you can see here that our log will do different things like so the fight stays dynamic as kind of how it will move around and make things a bit more complex for us. Like for example, now that Ardlog is here, like we can even see Qatar. So the fight shifted entirely, and we need to rethink about our movements, about what we're gonna do, about how to make it the next round work, because Qatar is already pretty pretty low on HP. We need to use our powers to heal. Qatar should could use his armor in the future to take a bit more less damage. We would need to figure out to solve this
Yep.
situation. But the boss encounter is like this. As you can see, it's not an easy challenge. Uh, it's a boss fight, so the idea is that it's a
And
daunting encounter. It
yeah.
shows it brings the hero's HP to low amounts if you are not careful.
And
Um,
it is, at a much higher level here. So if you guys are, a little overwhelmed or you're kind of like confused a little bit more what's going on, do remember that this happens mostly near the end of the game.
yeah,
So
and
you,
this
you
is one of the last fights.
yeah, by the this point in the game, you're already very familiar with the rules, so you won't be as overwhelmed, once you get to this point.
Yep,
Okay,
that's it.
so that is the boss fight, and that was one of the topics that we were going to go over. One is actually one that kind of quickly can talk about here since I already have it open, and I actually kind of use this just for even this fight since this normally you play during the campaign, but there also is a way to play one shots. So if you just want to play one of these quests and you don't want to necessarily have gone through the entire campaign, you can do that. So one shots here is on page 87 of the rulebook in Appendix H. Honestly, I'd say while people will be like, "Oh, our rulebook is 88 pages," it's true, but I'd say most of the rules are stop about what 10 to 15 or 20 pages before then, and then the rest is these appendix rules for additional information or specific situations, or the other appendix on how exactly certain conditions may work. So the just
Yeah.
the rules of playing is not actually even 88 pages.
No, far less than that. And there's a lot of examples and
Yeah,
things like that that makes it uh, way larger than it could.
yeah. So anyway, so in terms of playing an individual quest, well, this will probably change, I think, right, in the new version because we're not going to have quest cards. Is that still the case, Michael?
Yes, yes, but the content of the quest card will be added to the appendix, so there
Yeah,
will be no loss of information.
yeah. So it'll still be the same things, but basically you take one of the quest cards and let's see, where did
Do
he
I have one here?
store
Here,
the?
quest
Yeah,
cards, but just not just initial ones.
yeah.
Let's get
So we can
this
just look
first.
at one where it says one shot quest mode, escape a burning bridge and explode barrels to open a path to rescue boat that is under attack. And it gives you the special challenges, do the extra challenge, and the boss is dead, but blah blah blah. Villains are alive when you win. And so there's some things that are specific to that. And
Yeah, the
then,
idea of special challenges is for those that went something beyond. Like, let's say I just did the whole campaign and I defeat everything, and I didn't play this quest, but I went to experience it. So I can play this on a one-shot mode, and I will check here by the number of the quests. Like, for example, this quest here is quest number 3, so it's on this line, so I can use this level of items and uh, attacks
so
and
three,
skills.
and then you'll have weapon level 0, which you can choose, which is just the standard ones. You
Yeah,
would pick level 1 NPCs, and then you'd pick two hero unique attacks, and then two level 1 attacks. And then those are how your special tokens are. So three level 1s and one level 2.
yeah, that's the idea. You check the table, assign the items. Um,
And then there's one other part on here. Right below that, it's called Going Infinite. So, do you want to quickly talk about what Going Infinite means, Michael?
Yeah, the idea here for going infinite is that let's say you have two options here in truth. You finished your campaign and you want to play a quest that you didn't play in the past. Like for example, let's say you didn't play this quest because you choose different types and you want to experience it. No, you can either play it on one shot quest mode simple, like doing the table and assigning to play it as if you were on that level. And if you are an experienced player, use the special challenge here to have a challenge for yourself to play that quest a bit differently. Go Infinite goes a bit beyond that, as it allows you to get your fully decked hero with all the items and upgrades and everything you acquired at the end of your campaign and play this quest as if it was a week 6 quest. So it will give you instructions on how to add things and change things on the quests necessary for you to bring the difficulty of that quest on par with fully decked hero. So you have it
So, like in
here.
this one, it says 3. So then we go read the section 3 there. It says all villains in the quest are always empowered 3 and start with plus 35 HP. Even the boss, if possible. The HP bonus cannot make it exceed 350 HP. I believe that's
Yes,
because there's only so many tokens for them,
yes,
right?
yes. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Because this makes the quest like on par roughly with 6 quest, so you can play it on a go infinite. So you can finish your campaign and continue using your next level heroes that you created your combos to play all other uh, dozens and dozens of quests that you didn't play on your first playthrough, or you can start another campaign. So you have many options. Because in truth, like there is many paths during the story. So from the 100 quests that there is on base arena box, you will play like 25% around this much. So there is a lot of quests that you are not seeing um, because you have multiple, like I said, multiple story paths that leads you to different quests and choice of adventure cards that are cards that you didn't pick, and each card leads you more than one quest. So by default, you will not see everything. So there
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of content you can explore. That's why the journal is so big. That's why the quest guide has over 100 quests. So
Yeah, it's
that's it.
101 quests in the base version of Tanares Adventures. And then once you count the Wasteland Expedition, is it all 15, I believe, of the original
Yes, I
campaign?
believe it's 50.
Yeah, so that's 116 quests there. And even that campaign, I believe we're still having the branching and things in there, so that'll give you reasons to
Yep,
go
to
check that
replay
one
them.
out as well.
So the replay value of Tanares is pretty high. This is something we took in great consideration when developing the game. As we wanted it to be something you can play for years to come because uh, there's just so much content and each quest is very unique. So you not get bored by feeling that they are the same thing because each challenge is unique. That's why we devised these special challenges here. That's why we devised the Go Infinite with different things because you can always have a fresh perspective and see
Yep.
things differently.
And it's kind of funny. I see this like in a lot of like video games, right? They usually call them like the plus one, right? Or like the continuing campaign type thing where yeah you have your character you made, right? Like God of War or something, and then you have those all abilities and you go back and then you get to play all of that with the same thing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, if you can take a look here, I've got
Sure,
more
yeah.
things on here. So let's say the special challenge here is halflings and skeletons never hit heroes. So you need to make the entire quest without halflings, monster, and skeleton monster
Which
hitting
I
heroes.
think, yeah, I remember this one. That's actually tied into the mechanic of that quest where you're trying
Yes,
to,
because halflings are fighting skeletons. They may
yeah,
attack you or the skeletons. So there is a lot you can do to try to make this work. Like let's say, for example, in this one here, a hero never starts his turn with a skill token charged. It also has to do with this quest that has a lot of about charging skill tokens and gaining cubes. So you need to use your skills in very specific ways to make this challenge work. So each quest has a special challenge designed based on the special rules of the quest. So it's another tier that we devised to make the replay value even higher.
yep, yep. So that's cool that they're all unique and it's not just kind of just throwing on a little bit more right to it. They're still specific to those quests.
Yep.
Okay, awesome, Michael. That was pretty cool there. Let's talk about. We got a couple other things that maybe people don't know as much about, or they haven't gotten far enough to see yet. And one of those things, let's see if I can get the campaign log here. I wanted to talk about campaign perks. So as you go through the game, you will unlock war points, and war points are kind of one of the main narrative progression points of the game. As you get far enough in, you'll notice that there's like these stars, which will, in the normal Tanares Adventures box, you go to the city book and you read those sections that are labeled for that faction. So warriors, strategists, diplomats, spies. But then you'll notice that there's one that also has a star and a circle. It also has a section, but it also is to indicate that you now have unlocked a campaign perk,
Yep.
which are pretty cool global effects that happen throughout the entire campaign and can be really beneficial as you get later on in the game.
Yeah, the idea of them is why we devised this campaign perks. Most of the other content your hero in the progress your hero can make is changeable. You can go like change your attacks, change your hero, change your items. So most of the decisions you make on your campaign, you can redo them on the build sense, like on the build of your heroes. And but when we play tested the campaign, we felt that there is something lacking, some kind of choice that mattered. Like you could not go back. That you took this decision. There is a lot of this on the sense of of story because each time you choose what quest to do, you gain facts, and this exists to the narrative, and it has a lot of consequence. But on the game side of thing, on how our heroes decide to be different from that other group of heroes in a way that diverge ourselves one group from the other forever. So uh, these perks give you that. So as you choose, like, oh, I want more resource, or I want to get have a better healing, or I want to have a bit better movement, or something different, or protection against some kind of specific effect, like journal effects, and so this allow you to customize your group in a way that you cannot that is permanent to your campaign, and the quests you choose, the path you take when making your decisions also somewhat guide this, because if you do more things related to the elements, the war, and if you take story aspects that are more related to the military, you gain more war points, and you gain more and lock more perks related to war. But even on them, it's a skill tree. Like there's options, so it's never oh you gain this and that's it. So you always have some options inside each tree. But the concept here is that it also ties with your choices during the campaign. So it gives you choices inside it, and it makes your team unique on a gameplay perspective. So I feel they are very interesting because of that.
Yeah, so for example, one of the ones that we have in our campaign is we did a lot of quests more related to the spies. I don't think we intended originally to play it that way, but it just kind of started working out that way. And so we ended up getting the shaman's ability, which now we've gotten better at remembering it because sometimes there's certain effects like start of the round, the turn owner heals 7 if it's within range 8 of an active villain, which most of the time that is the situation. So we can get a lot of healing with that ability, and it's definitely a great campaign perk to have there. Um, I think I can't even remember what some of the other ones that I think we selected. I think we did get the did we get the farm? I don't know. Maybe we didn't get that. Maybe we got the cures at one point, and then the penumbra list. Start of the quest. All villains take 6 damage. That's always a nice way to just kind of get them a little bit lower at the beginning. And Once you do have them, I think it's a little easier to start remembering them as you know, because you're like, oh man, that's like 6 damage, like 6 for each person. That's adds up quite a bit. And so
Yes,
you want to get those. Same thing with like from Critical Role, your natural hits of 16 or more are critical hits, so that's +5 damage on 16 or more. That's super awesome there. I really wanted to get that one when we were first playing.
yeah, the idea, we know that some of the facts are harder to remember, but the idea here is that there is options for more constant effects, like this one that you need to always remember that your crit is in 16 instead of 20, while others are more out of the quest, like, for example, the
Well,
one
side
that you can.
side weapon, equip an extra level 0. Once you already have that, you're pretty much probably just
Yeah,
always going to remember, and it's probably going to be awkward for you when you play again and you go like, wait, why don't I have it? Oh yeah, that's right, we don't have that perk.
yeah, and that's it. So you can choose ones that are easier to remember if you believe uh, you will forget it, uh, or get ones that are more hard to remember. We decided to have these ones that are harder to remember because they are cooler. The thing is, it was a balance here. We
Yeah.
know that the most interesting ones are the ones that happen during the campaign, the entire time during the quest. It's like, for example, you say, well, that you really went to get critical role here because it looks really cool. But it obviously harder to remember than, let's say, veteran here that gives you 5 extra HP because you just pick it at the start of the quest. Uh, so that is this. So we decided that we would give choice to people and allow those that like things that they need to remember to have their choice, and have choices for those that like more easy to remember extra perks to always be there too. And by playtesting, we felt that this approach was better for the majority of players because each one could choose, make the choice they liked more, and that was better for them. And
Yeah.
I believe that this made something very interesting
Or
because there is like things.
famous ale is another one too that you just use this and then it's
It's
done.
done. Yep. For example, ones that I like very much is like prosperity. So you can choose, like, for example, uh, quest power, like natural leader. This gives you an extra NPC to one of the heroes. This is actual power during the quests, or prosperity that gives your city phase one extra cube. So this is like economy. So you can think about getting power or getting more resources to quickly get better weapons and try to increase your economy of your city. So that's this. There's always interesting choices here because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so campaign perks are pretty cool. I haven't seen them a lot mentioned in any of the previous reviews. I spent a lot of time actually watching some of the other reviewers out there and what they say about the game, and this is another area that I just didn't really see a lot of discussion about. So thought it'd be a cool thing to bring up. Let's see. I also have there's one, well, two things. One, maybe that's a little less interesting to maybe everyone here, but there is a solo PvP mode where if you want to play the PvP version of the game, but you don't have friends, or you just want to try playing it by yourself, there actually is some rules to do that as well, which I believe is on. It's near the end here. It's also in the appendix side of the game. Here it
Yes.
is. It is on Appendix E, the solo team deathmatch. Um, so it describes how you're gonna do that.
Yeah, the idea here was to create something that you could enjoy a fun and fast PvP match, that match, so you can test your builds, your team compositions, your heroes. You can be, like I said, man with no friends, or you can have friends and be like a tryhard
Yeah,
that's stay on your home, like trying different builds on the
true.
during the week, just to smash your friends on the weekend.
Yeah.
That you can be that
I mean,
kind
it could
of
also be you and a
tryhard.
friend team up against, the
Yes,
AI system too.
yep, that's also an interesting perspective to use this,
For you
and
friend
it
people
works.
out there. What were we gonna say, Michael?
No, no, that's it.
Oh,
Just say
so
that.
they do have their own cards. So it's kind of shown here in there and talks about replacing like the hero attack cards. So in this case, you have Girona, and you're replacing the attack cards that she has with these more generic
Yes,
ones.
you change two, but you keep other two. So each hero stays true to their original intent. Uh, it was necessary because many heroes has attacks that are impossible for an AI to use effectively. And we could just say, oh, use it better, use it well.
Yeah,
Uh, but that would not feel like a true AI you're trying to beat. So we decided to uh, make it very clear how the AI works and how it make decisions. So uh, we divided one primary and one special attack for each role that will take place of one of the attacks of that hero that does not work well with the AI, or is too complex for us to create a specific rule for that attack, or how it will use the effect, or how it will target. So it works, and the AI does not need to be too complex. So how effects of it can be on this page here. Like you
yeah.
can see that about half a page you can explain the entire sequence of the entire logic of targeting, and most of it's pretty intuitive too. After you play like one match, you see that it's pretty easy. After the second round, you'll be doing it with no problem.
Yeah, and I didn't intend for us to go through like the whole thing of this, just because there's only so much time, right? We want to have in the stream here and be able to answer a lot of other questions. But I just
Yep.
thought I'd bring this section up because a lot of people don't realize that, and they get these cards like shown in the book, and they don't understand what they're for. This is what those cards are for.
Yep.
So anyway, that is solo PvP. Hopefully you guys check that out if you're interested. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about, and then we'll get right back to questions here. We're almost at the end of our time. So the last one is called Operation. Well, let me. We're gonna do something crazy here. So this is kind of answering someone's question. Um, This is the Arena of the Contest slash Tanares Adventures tabletop simulator mod that we have. It's ran by the community, but we get permission from Dragori to be able to use it, and the main person who updates the mod is Wantuan. He's done a great job with this, but one of the cool things is if you press the button here at the beginning, when you first open the mod, you'll get an option to select how you want to, what game mode you want to play. Well, there's one that we've added in here called Operation 1 out of 12 Endless PvE Mission. He's called it a Horde Mission. And actually, I just realized that I did not clear off the board. But we'll look here at the page. So this is, I believe it's unlocked in the campaign, right? You won't know about this until you get to a part in the story that explains this.
Yeah, and you can play it right away. It's uh, a special quest, so it's more for one shot than part of the narrative. Um,
But
the
the
idea here, the idea here is that uh, it's like a survival quest
yeah,
where you can pick a group of heroes and play this quest. And the idea here is that there is no end on this quest. You
yeah,
can
it's a
keep
wave
playing it.
survival type
Yes,
quest.
and it's each time you survive, you gain uh, a bonus in the form of flash cards and heroic powers that you open, and you choose these cards to add to your hero's attacks as an extra effect. So it's pretty powerful. You are getting way more powerful than normal. You are getting like crazily powerful, but there is increasing number and level and power of enemies, on each wave. Um, it has the same uh, style of play on this more recent kind of games, where you like the I forgot the name of the style.
The roguelite?
Roguelike,
Yeah.
exactly. These roguelike style games, because you you are each wave you survive, each part you survive gives you a set of options, and you can pick from this set of options which upgrade you desire, and then you get stronger, and there is more powerful enemies, and you try to make combos and effects, and try to survive this endless wave and see how far you can go. And this is something we devised so the community could have fun with it, and then post like, oh, I was able to reach wave uh,
Yeah.
this number or that number, and see how people devise new strategies, combos, group
And
of
this is
heroes.
exactly one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up because I don't know if a lot of people know about this yet. Maybe they want to play through the campaign part first, but definitely a great mode for people, yeah, to compare and see like, yeah, how far that they were able to make and what teams really worked well for
Yes, and
them.
the interesting thing here is that it's not just a static monster spawning, because there is also room tiles that enter and apply new rules. Though, so randomly you have new enemies, but that are randomly selected from all the enemies of the game, and also room tiles that change the map and add specific rules that will then uh, uh, be removed as new rules enter. So it keeps always fresh and interesting, and you can try many times to devise a strategy to survive as long as possible.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty cool, different type of game mode and quest that we have here. So if you haven't tried it and you maybe even already played through, I know that we do have a few people actually that have already played through the whole campaign. Um, definitely check it out. So next up, I did have a question, or well, not exactly a question, but I've seen a number of people ask, like, well, what is maybe a team composition that people should try? So in demos, I've tried to use some teams that are a little simpler. So we have ones that maybe have like less effects to track or just a little easier, straightforward. So oftentimes I'd suggest a team of maybe Qatar is a pretty solid choice. I think Rakaru is a pretty good one as well. He has some cool movement abilities that will make it a little more complex potentially, but he has a lot of potential there. Rourke is definitely a favorite of mine just because he can just absorb an insane amount of damage. So maybe he's a good one. If you want something maybe even a little simpler, Potentially Sir Eric could be. The only thing that makes him a little more challenging is his barrier of light ability, just because it's an interrupt. So if you're not familiar with interrupts, then that might be a little bit extra there. And then I usually have picked Nynx a lot as well as another uh, character, just because her abilities are pretty straightforward as well. It's either healing or doing damage, and then her passive effect is also just straight damage. But I don't know. Do you have a team composition for people to maybe start off their campaign with, Michael?
Um, our suggestions always use one damage dealer, one support, one uh, tactical hero, and one defender. It's one brute or one shooter, one tactician or one controller, one bruiser or tank, and one commander or healer.
Yeah,
Uh, I believe healers are easier to play than commanders,
yeah,
albeit
I agree
commanders
with that.
are really cool. Um, I often suggest people to play Taran because he's well rounded and easy to play and heals a lot. So I usually suggest people to play Taran. From tanks and bruisers, I often suggest people to get bruisers because they do more damage and they are people that like. If you are not the one that loves to tank to soak damage, then if you love this, play a tank, play Rurik um, or Cyric or any of the tanks. But if you are just, oh, I'm okay tanking, get a Bruiser because they dish a lot of damage. Their skills are pretty fun, and I suggest people to get them. And I often suggest either Aston or an Ariel. They're too simple and good and well-rounded. Ours is also very good because it has a lot of mobility, but Ascaron and Ariel are the ones I suggest the most. Um,
Yeah, and Ariel is
for
in the Tanares Adventures box too. So
yes,
if you guys are, don't have all of the boxes, she's definitely a great one to start with.
yeah,
Qatar will also be in the Ultimate box.
yes.
Who's very
That's why always suggest her because she's straightforward and everyone has access to it. From tacticians and controllers, I always advise people to get tactician if you have a shooter or a controller if you have a brute, because then you have an equilibrium of two ranged attacks and two melee attackers. It's not necessary. I have played with teams of four melee characters and teams of four-handed, but a well-rounded team is easier to play. So on tacticians, I believe the simple and more direct ones are Hokaru and Garyon. I really like both of them. Hokaru is more dishing damage around, and Garyon is more focused at killing single targets. So Garyon is a great substitute for damage dealer. So
Yep.
albeit he
Yeah,
has
his
great skills.
backstab does an insane amount of damage there.
Yeah, and from controllers, I like. Well, my favorite is Violent, but this is because regions because I had the honor to work with Mr. Ed Greenwood on this character here, so it's a personal favorite of mine. But I would advise players to play most often Katarina, as she's very straightforward, or Zafara if they want something a bit more defensive. So it depends on what their main target is here. If it's dealing a bit more damage or being a bit more defensive. Um,
and both of
there,
those heroes are in the base Ultimate box as well.
yep. There's many others here that are really cool. Like for example,
Like
here we
Yami.
have Yemi. That's great because of she works with the skill tree. We have uh, uh, we have here Nero that also has really interesting attacks and has a good passive power in Tanares. So there's many options here.
Yeah.
And
There's also.
between
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying between the shooters and brutes, uh, for shooters, I believe the most straightforward is Neri.
Oh yeah,
It's the one that
definitely.
I would always tell people to go for because Avalon is great, but on a very specific build that's throwing people on bad stuff on the bad ground, so it requires a bit more
Yeah, he can
wizardly
do a
play.
ton of damage, but yeah, you have to nail that positioning, otherwise you just won't realize it. But Neri
It
is
is,
definitely a lot more straightforward.
yep. And Select is also good if you are lacking AO in AOE department, like damage in area. Um, and here, Kelenia is also not too complex and very effective. I like her a lot too.
Yeah,
And on the brutes, everyone works really great because it is a more straightforward role of all the roles. There is some complex factors, like for example, Balm is a bit more complex, and Dagnex a bit more complex, and Count Blitz is a bit weird because he has a lot of self healing. It's very powerful in the correct composition, but he's not as damage dealer
yeah.
as other groups. But I would always recommend Qatar or Morlog. These ones are very straightforward. They are all rounders. They are good to go. I would suggest
Yeah.
this
Both
two.
both of those pretty good. I'd say Cedric is also pretty simple. His just pretty much just damage, but you just have to get
Yes,
his health to the right place
yes, but
first for that.
On PVE, it's tricky to stay low health. I would not
Right.
advise Cedric for a. I on PvP, it's very straightforward. On PVE, it requires
Can
you
be, yeah.
taking
You got to
control of
consider that
his.
when you're doing it.
Yeah, and on Commander, just to talk about them, uh, I I always tell people go Skara because she's the most healing focused one, or go Lena. She's the simplest one. So the simplest Lena is more a damage dealer that can also do some healing. Skara is more the alpha healing. If you are going support and you believe your commanders are already healing less than healers, obviously, but if you are lacking on the support department, you can go Skylar to reduce this distance a bit. And if you are, no, I want to do a bit more damage and go more offensive, Lena is great.
I think
Olimir is a
Ogmir
bit,
is probably even higher damage than Lana, isn't he? In
yes,
most
but
of
he's a bit
his.
more complex to
He
play
is.
because he interacts with his companion a bit more. The companion has attacks, so it's a bit more daunting to play, but not very much. Just I would not be the first one I would recommend for a new player. Uh, yeah, Chloe is interesting, but she's very tactical and based on positioning. Ortos is also based on positioning and the wise use of his hellhound, so
Yep.
it's a bit more difficult to play, and that's why I would suggest Lena or Sparrow as easier
And
to play.
yeah, and still, if you're maybe not sure or you're gonna forget all the things that we tell you, we've actually made a document called the Tanares Heroes Compendium. It's a free document available to everyone. We have it in the Discord. I believe it was posted to Facebook as well, but it is in the Discord. And basically, you can go and see kind of like stats that we've come up with to help guide you on these characters. So, for example, Balmu here, and I'd say this is probably true, I think, for most of the brutes. They're all very high offense, low defense, and then maybe somewhere around the middle, and they kind of vary depending on their mobility. And then healing, utilities effects will be like additional effects or conditions that they apply, and then a complexity is kind of like our own rating to help people just get an understanding of maybe how much knowledge you need. So if it's all the way full, then that means it's a much more complex character. And then we also have a little bit of facts about that character, which provides some flavor about them. And you can also see how they work in PvE, what their passive effect is. And then PvP, we tried to give a way to view how this character could be used in PvP, as many people, will use him, but it's based on how their abilities work. So if you go through here, we have all of the different characters that are within that role. And then at the end of it is actually a little comparison table so you can see how they stack up between offense, defense, mobility, healing, utility, and then complexity. So then we have all 8 classes in there, and we actually even have the special class in there, which is only used for PvP, and that's this last column here on the right. So we'll have to make a Heroes Compendium 2.5 or 2.0 or whatever once we add some other characters in here, but at least that
Yep.
should help you guys get started with the game. Let's just answer the last few questions here, and then I think we're going to close out the stream. So one was, we have quite a few. So we won't probably be able to go to everything in here. Is there a way to change your pledge for the RPG? You'll be able to do that, I think, in the pledge manager or talking to customer service. Um, some other things related to the gnome, which maybe if Michael wants to, like what went into the gnome design, he can talk about later. Um, Oh, there's a question about Soyoko the ninja. I believe I did a video already talking about the ninja and how she works. We do have her rules written in here. They are also written in the Time Twist book, so if you're not sure how she's supposed to be used, it's described there. I may be able to do like another video, but I think I already did talk about her specifically. So make sure to go check. I have a playlist of all like the new heroes that were added and how their abilities work. So check out that playlist. Next question is, when is the Banana Dragon being unveiled? I don't know. You got to ask Michael about that sometime, or Alex if you can convince him. um,
We tried to
yeah.
place in there.
So are one shots harder because you don't have those buffs? I think he's referring to the campaign perks. I don't know. Are they supposed to be a little bit harder if you don't have campaign perks?
Um, Very slightly, but there is also some small uh, gains from the depending on the journal. Uh, you're not doing the journal can bring you some advantage too, because the journal can have choices that allows you some buffs. There
Yeah,
is also the fact that you lack facts, so you don't have some of the powers of the that you could gain from facts, but also no negative effects on facts. So it evens out. There are some quests that will be a bit more difficult, some quests that will be a bit easier, so on the average, it's only even out. So we tested it out on solo and we never found a problem on the difficulty of it.
yeah. Let's see. You make a draft to make hero choices simple. I'll say that so there is and I see that you said you're French. There is a French community. They may be able to kind of help with that, and also if they do want to work with us on making the French version of the Heroes Compendium or something to kind of help players get started, then let me know. We can do this. The Heroes Compendium, I'd say, is primarily a community document. The We did get Dragori to help actually make the art and layout for it, but it was completely developed by the community. Um, there was also, yeah, one thing that I didn't get to talk about, and that was like these tags. If you have questions about that later, I can talk more about it. But we also made tags to kind of help people understand maybe certain things that heroes can do. So it really helps you decide on when making your team. Last question: could you tell me more about the Kemet Lords? Well, that is quite a big topic, and I'd say Michael has what do we have we're at four updates right now that talk just about each Kemet Lord, and then there was another one that was recently talking about the new Kemet Lord quests that were coming. I think it's the last one we did.
Yep.
Um, so I would highly suggest if you haven't read those updates, go read those because Michael has done an extensive job talking about the Kemet Lords and their history and who they are, and some more about how they work. And we'll probably talk more about specific, Kemet abilities and things later on my channel. Definitely, I'll be talking more about it for sure. So be sure to come back later for that. And do the language add-ons translate everything? Just about everything. I think. I think the only thing might be the city board, or we may have like a card or something that kind of
Yes.
explains
No,
the city board.
the only thing that's not translated is the city board because it does just don't need translation. Because in fact it's just names. There is the like we have it here on the don't, so I can show it.
The
And
city phase.
yeah,
I don't think it's it. Well, actually, it might be in here. I'm just not sure. So this is like a private version of the mod. This part
yeah,
isn't public yet. If you play the mod that already is out, we have the demo version where you can play like a city phase, so you can kind of get the feel of that, and you'll see the
yeah.
board on there.
What I was going to show was this. The only part that needs translation that has text is the upper left corner that has rule reminders. These are not necessary. They are just rule reminders. So we felt that the cost of adding this with the cost of another board of another um, pay for this and translation this would be passed by to everyone and it would increase the price for everyone for something that was completely not necessary because all the rules are on the rule book and the board only has very simple uh, rule reminders that are uh, not necessary to be translated because even if you don't know English, you can go by the rule book. So I don't believe this will be a problem to anyone. And even if you one person on your table knows the basic English, you can follow by that. But that's the only content that's not translated because we are offering as an add-on the uh, the board version and not paper version of the city, and that would like make we need to have another board, one for each language, so that
Yeah,
would
yeah.
add a huge complexity. We are sorry that we can't do that, but you see that it's really has no gain for your gameplay. You can play completely well with the English board. It's very small.
Yeah. Okay, so jumping back to the campaign page here, we're almost at the next stretch goal. I believe it's at 13, what is it? 1230K. Yeah, we're just a little less than 2,000 here away. So definitely make sure to back if you guys haven't already, or get any of those other cool goodies we talked about. But anyway, that is pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for coming, Michael, to talk about it. I know you're super busy with the crazy amount of work that you have doing the game design, the RPG, writing updates, doing everything. But I really appreciate you coming on and coming to talk about the game here.
Yep. Always a pleasure to talk with the community to explain our design decisions and it's been a great pleasure to interact with everyone in the comments. If anyone has any other question, you can post in the comments and I will do my best to answer them all. I'm sorry that if any questions remain unanswered because sometimes I'm taking care of the campaign, also writing, and also making game design. So it's a lot of things I try to
Yeah.
juggle at the same time. So sometimes I may miss some comments because maybe I'm on my 4 hours of sleep on the day, and it's been
Yeah.
very rare
Oh,
on the times I can actually sleep because of this. So
well,
I,
and
I
I'll say there's
apologize
often
for that.
times we do come back and try to answer comments, but it may not be later. And as people probably already know, Kickstarter comments are not great method of viewing them because they'll go down below everything else, and then you don't see it unless you like look at your notifications. But anyway, so we're trying to do the best what we can answer those, but we may miss some here or there as well. Anyway, so that is it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That really helps boost me, helps everyone else in the community so that they can see this because many people don't even know that I have a channel that I talk about the game and do lore and everything else and strategies and all that. So make sure to share that with others. But that is it for today. Really appreciate you guys, and we'll see you at the next one.